Hi everyone, we're back again for another episode of Office Hours, here where we answer all your appliance-related questions. I'm joined, as always, by Dennis McDonald, our Vice President of Sales. My name is Francesco, Sales Manager here at Yale Appliance. How you doing this week, Dennis?
Doing good. How about you, Fran?
Very good, very good. So we have a lot of questions this week, so we're definitely going to jump right into it. One thing we want to start with this year, it's almost 50 degrees here in Boston. That means it's almost summertime.
Warm.
It's
It's
as
summer.
good as it gets here.
It's
So that
hot.
means we start thinking about the outdoors and grilling. So let me ask you a question here, specifically to grilling and the grilling season. What is 2022 going to look like for grills? Brands, availability, things like that.
Yeah, it'll look a little different, but there's some really exciting things happening in the grill season too. You'll certainly see less variety, less options. And when I say that, I think of a brand like Weber. Weber has done two things that are really exciting. Launched a whole new line that we're really excited about. But they've really limited the offering as a whole. So not quite as many colors in the local market, sizes, things like that. Really focused on the meat of the market. But really some great features. Imagine a Weber grill that has removable portion of the grate that you can put things like a pizza stone in, a griddle to make bacon and eggs, like easy cleanup things. It has a wok burner accessory. So these accessories that drop in, but don't just drop in on the top of the surface, really truly are made to integrate into the surface. And that's just an accessory on top of the actual grill. As well, it has a self-storing feature where you can store these accessories right in the grill itself. So it kind of makes it an all-in-one solution. So that's kind of exciting. They've also come out with an electric grill, and we think about that in our Boston location or in markets perhaps where it's vertical and you can't have maybe a gas grill. Maybe it's a balcony or a deck in a multi-family unit, and there's some restrictions. Most times when we think of Weber grills, we think of an electric grill, and Weber's tried it before. We've never been able to get it hot enough. So it doesn't really sear. It doesn't really cook. You really know you're on an electric grill. The new Weber Pulse will get up to 600 degrees using a standard 110 outlet. And really the grilling heat and consistently throughout is really kind of game changing if you're locked into an electric grill. The cart and everything's removable, so you can take it away. So it's kind of exciting. On the premium side, a stalwart brand for us like Lynx is really sidelined for 2022. Really just feeling the pinch of COVID. Candidly, a grill ordered this year won't come in this year. So while we love the brand, it's really hobbled and sidelined in terms of no ETAs or local stock or even ordered the chance of it coming in time in a short New England market. So that doesn't bode well. But that will be backfilled by a brand like DCS, who has always been a strong grill, but actually has done a good job keeping stock in the New England market and with us in a grill season that normally sometimes they hadn't had stock, even in the better times. So we're excited there, and they just launched a new 9 Series grill. So they have 2 price points. And we have seen through COVID, the continued increase in costs of grills. And we really think that DCS has actually positioned itself quite well to be a reasonably priced professional grill with a really strong story that it's always had, and then some new product to match. And then Heston. Heston is going to be is a great grill again, but they're about subject to have a price increase, more niche on colors. And then Kalamazoo. That's probably the one I'm probably most excited about. Kalamazoo has always been truly the premier grill. Always very, very, very expensive. But they, for the first time, are launching a grill head. A 42-inch grill head, but we can get into construction, how it's made. But I mean, this thing really is going to everything from sear to holding temperatures, how it's built. I mean, it's almost 100 pounds heavier than the average grill head, and that speaks to the quality of the materials and how it retains heat and the grill grates themselves, how they retain heat. And that is actually going to price out less than a Heston and a Lynx grill head. So they've really come into a whole new market with a killer story. So that I think that's kind of really encouraging. And finally, we know that it's hard to get tradespeople right now. And with masons and all these folks really into a tight New England market with maybe an 8 to 12 weeks of good summer season, it's really hit or miss if you can get someone in to do a built-in kitchen in your backyard. A couple of years ago, we picked up a brand called Urban Bonfire, an amazing outdoor customizable grill cabinet line that really wasn't just cabinets. Its functionality is fantastic. Its ability to be customized is easy, and its quality, fit, feel, finish, color choices, like they've really got the design part of it down. So it's not in lieu of masonry. A lot of people are actually not being able to get a mason router. They're actually choosing it instead of, because it's easier to move, it's faster, much faster to get. And the bigger thing is, appliances and grill islands have a life expectancy. So if you can imagine, you built it into stone and something were to die or go wrong and you wanted to replace it, well, chipping away stone isn't easy. It's stone. In the case of the Urban Bonfire, that brand, you can literally just customize and modify, and really you can continue to build off or change over time. So I think it's money well spent in the long run. That's kind of what I'm excited about thinking about.
Yeah, and those are great too. It's like you talk, masonry has been around so long. It was kind of just, if you build an outdoor kitchen, you're building it in with masonry. And, when we picked up the Urban Bonfire line a couple of years ago, it was, it's the flexibility of it, like you said, and just the look and the different colors and just the way that you can really, we talk about it sometimes about colors and customizing the indoor appliances. You're really starting to see a lot more of that too on outdoor, specifically with those cabinets or some brands that have color options, like you mentioned with Heston. So you definitely see a lot of that kind of indoor kitchen kind of concepts being brought to the outdoors too. So.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Anything else on grills we should know about?
No, I feel like we've covered it all. Have I missed anything on your end? I mean, you're in grill world too.
Absolutely, and that's the thing for us too. I would say it's when you look at the Webers and you look at kind of the professional grills and the differences there, it's really obviously two different levels, but Weber has really kind of added a lot more features. And you talked about that outdoor grilling station, and just to touch on that a little bit, it's really a cool thing where a lot of times, you have these little features like the grill or the bake stone for pizzas and things like that you think you're going to use a lot, or maybe you want to try it out, but you don't really know how to do it. And with the Weber, it's nice because everything's included there. It's set right over their sear zone, so you're going to make sure you get that really nice heat. And you can do anything from breakfast, lunch, dinner, wok cooking, pizzas, like you said, the griddles. It's just so cool, and there's a lot of different things there. And I'm personally looking forward to even kind of seeing what they have to offer and what that looks like. So we're really excited, definitely, about the new Weber.
Yeah, I should elaborate. They've added lighting into the actual into the lid, into the unit itself. It used to be on a bar handle, and lighting's so important when you're grilling when it gets dark out. In some of their units, they have integration of a smart app, and more so. I'll just tell you this: people always ask us the difference between a box store Weber and maybe a brick and mortar. There's real differences. I mean, the grates, just to start, are significantly thicker, and unique size options and price points in the brick and mortar. It's built better. I mean, that's just the harsh reality. They build the brick and mortar grills, even if it's the same price, with upgraded features. So if you're spending the same and you are going to buy it from Home Depot or Lowe's or someone like that because it's easy, you're wasting money. You're not getting the quality. And you can just go. I recommend go feel the ones at Home Depot, Lowe's, and then go feel the ones that we sell. Spending the same amount of money, your grates are twice as heavy, which means better searing, hold up better, the metal, the materials open to close, sometimes the actual grill head itself and how much grilling space. So people just need to realize, although it's a Weber, it's not always the same Weber. You're buying that type of thing.
Yeah, and like you said, it's the grilling season. If you're in New England, the grilling season is definitely short. We have 8 to 12 weeks or so before the summer is over here. So you definitely want to kind of go quick. The Webers, especially really all grills, like you mentioned with Lynx, are really a hot commodity, and you want to kind of get in early, just like indoor appliances. Definitely now's the time.
It's going to go quick. I mean, supply is going to be quick. Don't think it's just sitting on the shelf all summer. Get in early. Our grills are coming into display next week. So, all right, what else do we got?
All right, very good. So next question, let's talk about built-in coffee makers. Is it worth to purchase a built-in coffee maker?
Yeah, it really depends on the customer. If you really go and buy a premium cup of coffee every day, or you're serious about a cup of coffee, or the types beyond coffee, cappuccinos, lattes, that type of thing, then I think it could be worth it. Understand that you're customizing around it, and truth be told, built-in coffee makers have a life expectancy. They brew a certain amount of cups, generally somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000 cups, which sounds like a ton, but if you do the math, 4 cups a day, you're somewhere right around a 7-8 year life expectancy. So just to know, but for what you pay, for the quality of the coffee itself, you're not going to find that at a Dunkin' Donuts or even a Starbucks locally. Okay. I want to answer a couple of questions here coming in, Fran. I want to hop out. Someone asked about, Craig asked, lead times, JennAir compared to Sub-Zero, looking at a 42-inch French door. JennAir is going to have it much, much, much quicker than a Sub-Zero right now. Probably about half the time to a third of the time. Sub-Zero is a phenomenal product, but its lead times are long, 12 to 14 months right now on most refrigeration ordered today. There was another question in here. The difference between Bosch columns and Thermador columns beyond the stainless interior. Some flexibility in the racking, some lighting differences, size differences. Bosch really keeps them very, very narrow in what they even offer in their built-in line. Thermador has all different flavors, ice makers, inside, outside. So really, that's the main difference there. Fran, anything to add on that?
And then I would also add differences in the warranty too. Whereas Thermador, more the premium product, you'll get the 2-year warranty out of the box, and Bosch, you'll really get that 1-year warranty out of the box.
Yep. And then compressors. Nope, they're not changing the compressor. Gaskets aren't changing, those types of things. I tell people this: listen, it's all money when you're buying it, right? Think long term though. These things are being custom built in. Is it a home you're flipping? Is your market and your home worth enough that if the brand is secondary and it's going to sell regardless, you just need to have a fridge that looks the part? I mean, you can only answer those questions. I wouldn't not buy a Bosch or buy a Thermador based on a quality level of the fridge, one dying earlier than the next. They're the same in terms of the core components. But beyond that, think about resale value. Because at the time when you're doing a project, listen, $2 grand, $2 grand, $3 grand, $3 grand. But at the time that you go to return it, other comp homes in your area are going to all have Thermador or Subwolf and those types of brands. And then did you spend good money after bad trying to, you lost it in your purchase price because you didn't feel like your kitchen was up to par with your competition. But only you can answer that.
Correct. Okay. And then certain promotions and things like that can vary depending on the whole thing that you're looking at.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So next question, we're going to talk about, all-in-one washers and dryers, really where it's in the same unit, washer and dryer. What do you think about those, and why doesn't Yale really recommend traditionally top-load washers without the agitator?
Yeah, Fran, because I'm about 10 years older than you. I feel probably 30 years older than you. Let's answer that question. On an all-in-one machine, so everyone understands, that's not a washer with a dryer above it in a tower. That truly looks like a freestanding wash machine that also can serve as a dryer. We do not recommend it at all. Okay, it is an absolute last resort. Reason being is washers take 110 power. The standard dryer is either gas, but in more cases, electric. And when it's electric, it requires 220 power. Okay, so understand a washer, it needs to do both. So really, you're drying at half the power. It's only using 110 power. So you see extended dry times. We're Americans. We're going to fill that thing chock full because it's what we do. And then if you think about, you go home to a normal dryer, your washer is this big and your dryer is this big because you need a volume of air. You need the clothes to tumble and move. If you had a wet towel and it was windy outside, but you kept it tight in a ball, it wouldn't dry, right? It needs to be maybe on a clothesline or hung out so that the unit can move. So we see a lot of people that don't use it correctly. They try to load it full wash and then think it's just going to convert to a dryer and it's going to dry. And additionally, it has half the power. So it's an absolute last resort. Servicing, there's a lot of maintenance, there's filters, there's things to clean out. So we see service on them 100%. So it's an absolute last resort. If it weren't and it could do all these magical things, wash and dry at the same time, amazing. We'd love them, but it just doesn't.
Yeah, no question. And then just as far as the next part of that, why don't we recommend a washer without the agitator part of it?
Because it simply doesn't wash clothes. Yeah. We've tested it, we've videoed it, and the manufacturers will never tell us they wash clothes. They don't. They don't get water through them. Google, you guys all Google in your world. Google the reviews. They speak for themselves, and we would support them. The reality of it is, the old agitator, that corkscrew, or a front loader that truly tumbles clothes, you need agitation to clean clothes. It needs to turn. Water needs to be pushed through the pores of the clothes. If these tubs that don't have agitators, it looks like a little glorified nub. There's no way it can turn that close. Quite honestly, we've done it where we load a machine because we test everything. We deal with the service side, all with white clothes. And we'll put one bright red towel in there. So it's real easy to see the turning. And we put a camera on it, and we lift the lid off, and we wash it for 2 hours. And simply put, it does not turn. It does nothing. So it doesn't wash the clothes well, and the water doesn't get pushed through the clothes, so you don't get good extraction of water. Sometimes people complain it didn't even get wet at certain parts of like maybe a quilt or a jacket or something like that. The box stores sell them. And you know why they sell them, honestly? Because they don't have service and they don't care about you after the fact. It's easy to sell. You want to look at it and say, wow, look at this big thing. Wow, it looks huge in there. It's great. You want to use it. The idea is to wash clothes and be happy using it. And that's where the box stores stop and we start.
Yeah, and definitely our recommendation there is either stick with the traditional old school top loader with the agitator, or for the high efficiency and better washing, absolutely go with the traditional.
Yeah, last thing I'd just say, and even if it was a brick and mortar store, if they're recommending it, I can guarantee you they don't own a service department because they would never be doing it.
All right, so next question. We're going to get, we always have some variation of ventilation thrown in here for sure. So can you talk about the differences of recirculating, internal, external, or inline blowers? And does it affect performance?
Yeah, so recirculating, folks, you understand what that is. The heat isn't going anywhere. It's just, think of them above the range microwave or some hoods that you can't put a duct or get a duct out to the exterior of the house to push the heat outside of your home. In that case, recirculating is recirculating. You could have a bag full of money and you're not going to get a better one. It's all the same. So you're really there buying an aesthetic and a lighting package. So recirculating is always a last option, but sometimes it's your only option. So don't go spending crazy money on something that won't do a better job for you, but I would focus on the aesthetic and the lighting at that point, because that's probably most important. Finally, if you are recirculating, make sure you're replacing they do have carbon filters in all recirculating hoods. You need to replace them. Every 6 months is the recommendation. But if you cook a lot of high heat, oil cooking, that type of thing, you'd replace them more often. You'll know because you'll literally see the smoke start to billow out the front of it and not work at all. An internal blower, that's truly a hood that is made to push outside the home, but the blower itself, the actual motor, is housed within the metal hood itself. Super convenient. It's probably 75-80% of the hoods you sell. Pros and cons, easy. It's all contained, right? It's one unit. The hood houses the blower, but in that case, the noise is also right there at your ear because it's in the hood, which is generally right at your ear level. So noise component issue there, but easy to deal with. External blowers, what that is that's that same thing. You have a pretty shell of a hood or maybe a hood insert. We have a wood cabinet, but the actual body of the blower, that big metal blower, is mounted somewhere externally. Could be on the side of the house, could be on the roof. Everyone would do them because they're very quiet. We've now taken the noise, think about it, and put it outside. When you do an external blower, you want the space between the hood and wherever you mount that to be at least 6, 8, 10 feet away. Just putting it on the outside of the house won't make it quieter. You want to put it a ways away. Additionally, you got to think about what's it going to look like. Where is it going to be? Do you have a patio out there that it's going to be blowing the air and now loud when you go out to sit at your dining room table out back or your patio table? So there's considerations. You can paint them, you can shingle them, you can hide them with a shrub in some cases, but there's some considerations there. And finally, an inline blower, what that is the blower now is not mounted in the hood, just like we talked about with external, but it's also not mounted outside of the hood. It's mounted somewhere inside the home. So either between the floors of the home, maybe up in an attic, it's housed somewhere. So why would you do that? Quite honestly, if we're technically talking hoods, it's your best performing hood because it's sucking air to the blower and then pushing it the rest of the way. It's the most efficient way to move air. It is quiet and it's inside the home, but you've got to make sure wherever you mount it that you have access to it. Because if it needed service, you need to be able to get to it. In a lot of existing homes, harder to do because you're not going to have this. And they're a big box generally, so you're not going to have it in between the floor and this. We run into a lot of customers that are at the time of purchase and they're waiting for their contract or their final design and they're paralyzed and they say, hey, what do I do? I don't know if I can do internal, external, inline. Like I want to look at all these things, but I just don't know. We are so excited for a whole new hood line we're going to be launching coming out in the next couple of months here. And it actually, in its pro hood offerings, this is a huge launch for us. We've been working on it for years. The hoods will come with an internal blower, okay? The beauty of the blower is it can be removed from the internal of the hood. And it is an external blower or an inline blower. So you're just buying one item, and it can do any 3 applications. when you do the external and inline option, there is a little housing to make it look pretty or mount to the outside of the house. But it's just that it doesn't hold up your project. If you ever put it in internal and it's really, really loud and driving you nuts, well, you might have to bring a contractor back, but you have options to put it outside. That buyer's remorse portion of it goes away. So kind of a really thing. We've worked with them to design that. And I think it's really kind of exciting.
Yeah, definitely a very exciting feature. I mean, really, the first time we've ever seen anything like that, and just to be able to, like you said, initially, if you're not sure, and really after the fact too, being able to, if there's a situation, there's an issue with the install, just being able to have that flexibility is huge. And I know we're all looking forward to that option too. So that's great. All right, so let's go on to the next question. So the next one's about, single door freestanding refrigerators. How come you never see a single door bottom mount freezer fridge in a 36-inch width?
Yeah, that's a so yeah. The reason is try to find a kitchen today that doesn't have an island crammed into it. So we put islands in almost every kitchen. We put them in kitchens that, quite frankly, shouldn't have an island, but it's just what we do because we entertain. People do stand in the kitchen when we have a party. So that big 36-inch single door, think about it swinging out. It's 3 feet into where your island is. Now, the code in most towns, it's 39 to 42 inches of minimum space between your island and your real wall cabinets. But if you can imagine that if it's 39 inches and you have a 3-foot wide door swinging up, you really create a bottleneck in your kitchen. People can't get around the door. So that's why you've seen these types that have a split upper door and a freezer on the bottom. And that's really taken fire. And now manufacturers just saying, shoot, there's not enough volume. People want these split doors because they make so much sense getting in and out of to the island and movement in the kitchen. So that's really just been the trend.
Yeah, absolutely. And in addition, you really only see those in, like you said, in those built-in refrigerators and freestanding refrigerators. Honestly, it's also just a tip hazard too, where those are not, those are designed to be able to roll in, roll up easily out for cleaning, things like that. That, when you open that door, certainly if it's not built into a cabinet like a higher end professional refrigerator, that absolutely can be a tipping hazard as well there. So,
yep.
All right. So the next question, we're going to talk about panel-ready dishwashers. Quite simply, why can't I find a panel-ready dishwasher?
Because you're not buying from the right store. They are constrained. The reality is stores like us have them. You may be trying to find the one you Googled in a search and you want this very specific model. And that's the way we'd always normally buy when times are good. But you need to really be flexible and see what's available. The brands we always thought about when we did panel ready, honestly, the 2 horse brands in that market are Miele and Bosch. And the reason for that, someone will say, what about a KitchenAid? We talked about this before. KitchenAids do not sit flush. American brand dishwashers do not sit flush with your cabinets. And the whole idea of the panel is to sit flush, right? And not look like it's an appliance. But Bosch and Miele right now are super constrained. We do get them. We get Bosch every month and we get Miele every month, albeit we're in the rears getting them. So I guess if you're going to do it, and then a brand like Beko has been built. It's a brand not built. It's a 100-year-plus company, a huge company. I mean, I think they're 26 billion. They're not small. They're just primarily in Europe and newer to the States, but they've been a fantastic dishwasher that we do stock all the time in panel ready. But if you can be flexible on the Bosch and Miele, know this, that with most dealers, you cannot get a Bosch disher in 2022. They're running about 40-plus weeks, and candidly, they're not taking orders right now. You can't even place an order if you're a dealer. Fortunately for us, we placed a very large order at the very beginning of the last year in anticipation for this, so we will continue to get them. So the answer is, you want to go to a store, not buy it online, because no one online is going to be able to do it. You want a brick and mortar store that you can buy from, and you need to be flexible in the brand that you may have come in initially thinking you want it.
Very good. So next question here, we're going to talk, switch it up just a little bit. So we're, we've talked about kitchen plumbing and sinks and faucets a little bit. And the question that we hear often too is, why are some kitchen faucets and sinks just so much more expensive than others? What's the difference there?
Yeah, I mean, in sinks, it's just the gauge of the metal, right? I always tell people if they're buying counters and someone tells you they're going to give you the sink for free, pause. Nothing's free, right? We don't live for free. That's why we all work. And heck, we sell appliances to pay for our personal lives. These things aren't free. So it's the quality of the metal, it's the thickness of the metal. On the faucets, it's really it's a bit sad, right? So in many ways, 90% of the brands that you maybe grew up knowing, brands like Delta, Moen, all these brands, they're made overseas. They're made in Asia, most of them, or third world country overseas. So there's not a huge amount of quality difference that we see. It's just the prices continue to have to be pushed down to be more competitive, so they've outsourced and put it overseas. So the difference is in the ones you do see might be made the way they were, made by hand, not made by machine, made in the United States. So what we've found is two things. People will buy a brand that they used to think they could count on, only to be disappointed by the quality and parts. And then we deal with that, right? So we've kind of started to go, we certainly have some value lines, but we've really narrowed our focus down to brands that have lifetime warranty finishes. And that's the difference between a good and a bad faucet. You know, if you bought one at a Bosch store somewhere online, most of them have a 30-day guarantee. Lifetime parts labor. You know, that's the difference. With they're not going to pay for your plumber to come and redo the work, but the part might be free. I mean, imagine if you bought a car and you never had to buy for parts; you just had to pay for the mechanic. I mean, so that's the difference when you're buying them. And I'll tell you that it's just like that. There is no middle ground in faucets. They're either really inexpensive and poorly made, or they definitely cost more, and you notice it. It could be double the cost, but the quality difference is night and day as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, you know, it's like appliances. A lot of times you can really feel the fit and finish difference on them. If you're kind of looking at those, you can definitely feel that for sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. So the next question is going to be more Yale specific here, and one that we certainly get, you know, regarding the outlet. You know, is the Yale Appliance outlet, what is the Yale Appliance outlet, and is it only located in the Dorchester showroom?
So yes, physically it is, but I will tell you, it was something that we had, you know, you had a lot of returns. We change our floors constantly, floor displays. Maybe a customer ordered the wrong fuel type and you did the right thing and took the unit back. That's what it was. And it still is. It still does live in Dorchester. The reality of it is, it's a virtual world and we move quickly. We have access. Every showroom has live access. On our web, we post our outlet product every single day with pictures. So you can buy it from your home. If you wanted to go see, touch, feel it, and most times it does live in the Dorchester showroom physically, but we also have product that's brand new in the box that's overstocked, maybe discontinued, that you can take advantage of as well. So I wouldn't necessarily, don't feel like you have to drive or feel like, oh man, I won't take advantage because I live on the South Shore, I live closer to the Hanover showroom, and I don't want to drive to Dorchester. No, all these stores have access to it, and you can see it virtually every single day. I won't lie to you that in COVID, more people, if a fridge had a little scratch or ding or dent, you're not getting quite as many back, but we still have some tremendous deals on brand new in the box and some open stock product as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely attest to that. I see that outlet just about every day, and there's some really unbelievable deals down there. And we have customers that absolutely will, you know, continue to check in on it down there. And we have a great staff down there too, that if you don't see something that you like right away, they'll absolutely keep looking out for you and give you a call when something like that comes in. So
absolutely correct. Yep.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for today. There was a lot of questions kind of coming at us there. So we're glad you kind of joined in and were able to send in some of your questions. Thanks again, as always, Dennis. And we had a great time here at the office hours again this week.
Yeah, listen, Fran, I can't leave anyone hanging. One of the customers is from California, and he's asking, do we ship out there? We do not ship. And outside of our area, you know, the mindset for us has always been the end experience. So to ship outside our market and leave you high and dry, God forbid there's a service issue. I mean, that's when we make our reputation, and candidly for customers, that's the last thing they remember. They almost forget what they paid or this or that. They remember when it went wrong and how low and how quickly you could make it right. So it's just been a philosophy of ours not to ship. We do answer a lot of questions from all over the country. Actually, heck, around the world, honestly, with our blogs and our social sites, because it's the right thing to do to educate the industry. But we'll only ship where we can control the experience as well. But we're happy to help on ways like this if it helps educate you. The question he did also ask, or she, I can't tell, was, will our hoods have makeup air? And absolutely. He's in California. We're in Massachusetts. I think we're 1 and 2 or 2 or 1 on all these makeup ears and codes, and we're the first to market with them. Also, all our hoods have makeup air built in. It's something that we see here as a standard. They have the ability to be turned on or just use it at full power, just depending on your application. So you don't have to buy anything really extra. It's just an option the hoods can do. Yeah. Hopefully that's it. Other than that, Fran, I enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you on the next office hours.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Take care.